It's never a dull moment with Project Veritas. Every story they seem to come out with is damning and serious, and this time, the story involves them. The latest release from Project Veritas, Microsoft Corporation legal documents, show Biden DOJ spying on Project Veritas journalists and hiding it from a federal court judge. Man, it is dark days, to say the least, and I have to wonder, man, was it always this bad and we just didn't know? Maybe, truth be told, because Project Veritas is exposing much of this malfeasance in government and corporations, and I wonder if we've ever really had real journalists who are willing to stand up and take these serious risks. The story is multifaceted. Project Veritas, investigating corruption and malfeasance, then becomes the target of the FBI, who raided the homes of their journalists, including James O'Keefe. A federal judge basically said, you need a special master. You're going after journalists. This is wrong. I'll go into the finer details on that point. But what we have now is that Veritas has uncovered the DOJ is continuing to do this work behind the back of the judge in secret, spying on journalists. You want to know why this pisses me off? For one, I think James O'Keefe does fantastic work. I think they're one of the last true investigative journalistic outlets. They're doing undercover reporting. They're exposing documents. The cover-up at ABC about Epstein, exposed thanks to a brave whistleblower and Project Veritas. As many of you probably know, I'm a big fan of WikiLeaks as well. And what they're doing to Julian Assange is nightmarish. I have to wonder, what does James O'Keefe think about Julian Assange? Maybe the next time we have him on, I'll ask him about this. And I think maybe we did. But you take a look at the work that he's doing, and you take a look at how powerful individuals are willing to break the law and play dirty to shut down those who would expose them. And you can see what happens to Julian Assange. And you can see what's going on now with Project Veritas. But wait, this wouldn't be a complete segment if I didn't give you some contrast to explain why I'm frustrated hearing about this all the time. First and foremost, we need journalism. We need journalists to expose corruption and inform the people. Do we have it? For the most part, our establishment mainstream culture lacks any real journalism. Project Veritas is smeared and slandered and lied about left and right. I bring you this story. Bill Barr slams Biden for lying about his son Hunter's laptop, saying it was Russian disinformation, and says his claims were verging on election interference. Former Attorney General Bill Barr slammed Joe Biden for lying about the authenticity of Hunter Biden's laptop. I was very disturbed during the debate when candidate Biden lied to the American people about the laptop. You want to know something funny, my friends? Bill Barr was the AG when the laptop came out. Think about this for 2 seconds. The laptop, which exposes, at the very least, probable cause for very serious crimes. Enough for the DOJ to say, maybe we should investigate this, at the very least. If you want to come out and say Biden was innocent, it's all smears, it's all lies, fine, I don't care. The point is, the photographs, the claims, the emails, the statements were more than enough to warrant an investigation, a public outcry. Now, of course, there is an investigation into Hunter Biden, but I'm talking about Joe Biden. Bill Barr wouldn't do it because they're all scared. They're all cowards. Oh, no. It would be interference if I did an investigation into outright criminals. Imagine if we didn't play politics. Imagine if they said, look, I don't care if you're running for office. We have evidence of a crime. We're going to pursue it. Sorry. Yeah, we don't get that. Here's the story from Project Veritas. They say, Microsoft Corporation legal documents show Biden DOJ spying on Veritas journalists and hiding it from a federal court judge. Bombshell corporate legal documents released by Veritas reveal that President Biden's Department of Justice filed a series of secret warrants, orders, and a subpoena to surreptitiously collect privileged and constitutionally protected communications and contacts from 8 Project Veritas journalists from Microsoft Corporation. Wow. The Department of Justice then muzzled Microsoft from disclosing these orders via a series of secrecy orders signed by magistrates. The documents further reveal the DOJ then went behind the U.S. District Court judge and Elisa Torres' back to obtain extensions on the gag orders on Microsoft from magistrate judges after Judge Torres ruled Project Veritas was entitled to journalistic privileges. Good on Annalisa Torres, man. Despite multiple opportunities to do so, the DOJ has not publicly disclosed the orders, warrants, or subpoenas to Judge Torres or Special Master Judge Barbara Jones, who was appointed by Judge Torres to Project Veritas's journalistic privileges from potential DOJ overreach. To protect Veritas's privileges, Judge Torres ruled the DOJ's investigation must be overseen by Judge Jones and ordered the DOJ not to review any material seized from Project Veritas without Judge Jones's approval. The DOJ has not sought Judge Jones's approval to review Project Veritas's materials seized from Microsoft. The documents uncover a 16-month clandestine campaign against journalists in which the DOJ obtained 7 secret orders, warrants, and subpoenas from 6 magistrates within the Southern District of New York. Paul Calley, an attorney for Project Veritas, fiercely opposed the actions from the DOJ, which he called an act of violence to the First Amendment. In a motion filed Tuesday, Calley argued, by the time Project Veritas filed the motion to appoint a special master, the government already had the opportunity to review Project Veritas's journalistic and attorney-client privileged materials. Based on preliminary research data, the SDNY appears to be in possession of nearly 150,000 documents they should not have. In addition to the emails, the SDNY obtained over 1,000 contacts from journalists they also failed to disclose to Judge Torres or to a special master. I want to pause and mention, are you guys using a VPN? Are y'all protecting your data? You know, maybe they're not after you. Maybe you're just someone who's watching videos on YouTube and you're a plumber, a carpenter, a tradesman, electrician. Maybe you work in an office and you got nothing to worry about. All right. Maybe you're someone who might uncover malfeasance at some point within a company or corporation. They will go to the companies you use, Microsoft, AT&T, T-Mobile, Sprint, whatever, you name it, Verizon. They will say, we want you to give us their private communications and information, whatever you have. Now, if they went to you and requested these things, you'd say, I object. I won't do it. I'm going to have a lawyer file a claim. When they go to these big companies like Microsoft, they go, sure, whatever, we don't care. Now, Twitter and Google and some companies pride themselves, or at least they pretend to, coming out and saying, we have rejected these attempts to seize data from our company. But many of these companies have no problem handing it all over and saying, okay, not us, we don't care, it's theirs. Don't let the people who hate you have control of your communications. They go to say, Project Veritas's motion seeks to require the SDNY to comply with the special master order by stopping their review of the surreptitiously obtained emails and disclose other hidden spying campaigns executed against the nonprofit's journalists. The SDNY has launched a retributive campaign that does violence to the First Amendment, writes Calley. While the special master litigation proceeded, the government apparently misled the court by omission, failing to inform it and failing to inform the aggrieved journalists that the government had already obtained the contents of privileged emails from Project Veritas's cloud computing provider. The documents reveal a peek into the SDNY's covert surveillance of American journalists commenced by Assistant U.S. Attorney Robert B. Sobelman. The surveillance culminated in a search warrant seeking every email sent to or from Project Veritas founder and CEO James O'Keefe for a 3-month period, along with every contact he had ever saved. By virtue of these orders, the SDNY gave unsupervised and unfettered access to O'Keefe's emails, including privileged communications with his attorneys and notes to and from O'Keefe's confidential sources, among other constitutionally protected communications. I'm going to go out on a limb here. I'll tell you what I think. I think James O'Keefe has got a whistleblower inside the government. That's what I think. I think somebody working for the FBI or some other, or the DOJ, went to Project Veritas and said, here is malfeasance. Wouldn't be the first time, it's my understanding. Or I believe. So how much do you want to bet? The DOJ was like, oh man, someone's going to expose my corruption. Someone who knows my corruption is going to leak it to Project Veritas. What do? Simple. You play these dirty games. You seek to get the communications from Project Veritas to expose whoever it is might be spilling the beans on you. This is the danger of corruption. Powerful individuals in law enforcement likely to be exposed will use their powers and smear and defame those who would expose them. I don't know what Project Veritas has on anybody, to be honest. Maybe they don't. I don't know. It certainly seems like they got somebody scared because this is desperation. They say the SDNY also managed to convince a rotating cadre of magistrates to give the SDNY unchecked access to 7 other journalists' emails and contacts. According to an order the DOJ sought to keep secret to justify obtaining access to journalists' emails, the Justice Department appears to have argued there is probable cause to believe the email accounts maintained at premises controlled by Microsoft Corporation USA contain evidence, fruits, and instrumentalities of crime. Each order, warrant, and subpoena were accompanied by a non-disclosure order, which barred Microsoft from disclosing the SDNY's surveillance for 1 year, claiming without evidence that disclosure could lead to destruction of evidence by Project Veritas. Multiple NDOs were set to expire in January 2022. Interesting. I wonder if this is how they got them. On December 8th, 2021, however, Judge Torres, over the opposition of the SDNY, granted Project Veritas' request to appoint a special master to supervise the SDNY's review of material seized from journalists to protect the news organization's journalistic privileges, among others. Just want you to think about this for a second. If they didn't find out about what was going on, how could they file a complaint against it? Right now, for all I know, they're spying on Timcast. What can I do? File a FOIA, demand to know whether or not there's an investigation so I can file a complaint? No idea. Only, when Veritas discovers what's happening, can they actually complain about it. They say, Judge Torres ordered the SDNY to provide the seized materials to the special master, Judge Barbara Jones, who, rather than the SDNY, would conduct an initial review of the extracted materials and rule on objections raised by Project Veritas on any grounds, including on grounds related to any First Amendment concerns, journalistic concerns, and attorney-client privileges. Although the SDNY began issuing nearly weekly reports to the special master, only a few days after Judge Torres' order, the SDNY has never submitted any report disclosing its surveillance of Project Veritas' emails to the special master, let alone provided the seized emails to the special master. The SDNY's briefing submitted to Judge Torres regarding the special master procedure also failed to disclose the SDNY's covert spying or the voluminous records seized by the SDNY. When a round of the SDNY's NDOs requiring the spying to be kept secret began expiring in January 2022, the SDNY, having had their arguments rejected 2 out of 2 times by Judge Torres, apparently opted again to keep the surveillance of journalists secret from Judge Torres and instead obtained renewals of those orders from magistrates who were apparently unaware of Judge Torres' order. This is corruption, man. Simply put, this is overt and outright Biden DOJ corruption, seeking to cause harm to Project Veritas. Journalists who routinely make the Democrats and the establishment look bad. Man, I tell you, it's a dangerous business. If you're a journalist and you're not worried about what the government has in store for you, you're not really a journalist. Real journalists are worried about, look, you're on the ground, you've got government agents, you've got cops, and you don't know how they're going to respond to you. Maybe you'll get arrested. If you're a journalist working in the investigative beat or undercover, you're going to upset very powerful people with connections to government. And you have to be worried about these things. Just because you're paranoid doesn't mean they're not after you, right? It's entirely possible that, all of us working in these spaces have illicit and illegal activities going on behind the scenes, and I wouldn't be surprised. If someone came to me and said the DOJ was doing something similar to all of us here at Timcast, I'd be like, what else is new? They say these revelations come on the heels of a trio of FBI raids of Project Veritas journalists, including O'Keefe, during which the SDNY indiscriminately seized 47 devices, including a device belonging to a journalist's roommate. Crazy. The SDNY's spying campaign represents the latest example of governmental misconduct in a seemingly politically motivated investigation by President Biden's Department of Justice into Project Veritas' news-gathering activities surrounding allegations against then-candidate Joe Biden made by his daughter, Ashley Biden, in her diary. Though Project Veritas ultimately did not publish the allegations in the diary, it attempted to corroborate the allegations by requesting comment from Mr. Biden and his daughter, whose attorney, Roberta Kaplan, reacted by saying, We should send the request for comment to the SDNY. The SDNY appears to have been doing Miss Biden's bidding ever since, with little to no oversight beyond what appears to be judicial rubber stamps from magistrates not fully briefed on the matter by the SDNY. Why the Biden administration's Department of Justice sought voluminous amounts of journalists' emails, including confidential sources and attorney-client privilege data from Microsoft, despite vowing a year ago to protect press freedoms, is one of many questions the Biden administration will likely have to answer in the coming days. They said Trump was the monster. They said Trump was attacking press freedoms. They said Trump was the fascist. Joe Biden's Department of Justice, seemingly with him involved, are engaging in overt corruption against American journalists. It's right there for everybody to see. I wonder what Bill Barr is going to do about, Bill Barr is not AG anymore. Do you think anything's going to happen with Hunter Biden's investigation? Maybe. Do you think they're ever going to do anything about Joe Biden's connections? Who's the big guy? There's more than enough evidence that Joe Biden is lying, covering things up, and will get away with it. Dark days indeed, man. But maybe not. You know, I say dark days when we have these bad stories, but let's be real. I mean, here we are exposing and talking about the corruption. That means the light is shining brighter than ever. The work Veritas is doing and these journalists who are coming out with these stories exposing what's going on. The Hunter Biden laptop story, the New York Post. It's shining a light. I think we should have hope. I think this is a sign of optimism. The DOJ doing what they're doing with Project Veritas shows absolute desperation. Serious desperation. Now, it's frustrating for me to see Bill Barr kind of half-assing everything. Hey, buddy, you had every opportunity to go up against Joe Biden then. You did nothing. The Daily Mail reports former Attorney General Bill Barr slammed President Joe Biden for lying about the authenticity of Hunter Biden's laptop. Quote, I was very disturbed during the debate when candidate Biden lied to the American people about the laptop. He's squarely confronted with the laptop and he suggested that it was Russian disinformation and pointed to the letter written by some intelligence people that was baseless, which he knew was a lie. I was shocked by that. He writes, Trump tried asking about Hunter Biden's laptop, and he yelled at the president in return. Mr. President, I can't talk about that. I'm not going to, Barr said he told Trump. Trump, in turn, was displeased with his tone. Barr said he asked Trump to consider if the laptop had belonged to one of his 5 kids. You know, if that was one of my kids, Trump began, according to the book. Barr then cut him off. Damn it, Mr. President, I am not going to talk to you about Hunter Biden, period, Barr said. Why? Why? Didn't Bill Barr do anything? The New York Times recently confirmed the authenticity of the laptop following outlets including the New York Post and Daily Mail. Last week, the White House wouldn't say if the president stood by the Russian disinformation claims. I'd point you to the Department of Justice and also to Hunter Biden's representatives, Press Secretary Jen Psaki said on Thursday. He doesn't work in the government. The laptop includes a trove of emails about Hunter Biden's business dealings and graphic photos and videos. Federal prosecutors are looking into Hunter Biden's taxes related to his foreign business dealings. When you're talking about interference in an election, I can't think of anything more, Barr remarked on Fox, when talking about how now President Biden tried to blame the Russians for the laptop. Barr said he didn't want to venture an opinion on whether the president could face legal problems due to the contents of the laptop. Well, as the Attorney General, you certainly could have taken action yourself. Barr acknowledged the laptop narrative could be politically problematic for the White House. From a political standpoint, now that this is in the people's consciousness, it has been suppressed up until now. Obviously, they have a hot potato, and just to see how they handle it will be interesting, Barr said. Yeah, okay, Bill Barr. If you had done something about this, maybe you could have appointed a special prosecutor to take a look at it. You got special investigator on the Russiagate investigation. How about a special prosecutor on Hunter Biden and the laptop? He didn't do it. And now, I think Merrick Garland, the Biden administration is going to go after themselves. Therein lies the big problem. Who watches the Watchmen? If Joe Biden is committing all of these crimes, and it appears that he was, at least in my opinion, and then people elect him president, it is the most frustrating and nightmarish thing. But you know, that's why a lot of people don't want to believe that Joe Biden won. I think you underestimate the power of marketing, manipulation, control. I think you underestimate the ease at which they can sway people into voting against their own interests. The left likes to say, why are all these MAGA supporters, Trump supporters, voting against their own interests? Maybe it's you. Maybe you're the one voting against your own interests. I got to say, with Joe Biden, you are. How many people in this country would support corruption? How many people in this country would be like, it's a good thing that Joe Biden did all this stuff? None. You know, Ukraine, the prosecutor, his son's business dealings and income, the shared bank accounts. Yeah, the list goes on. Yet why is it that so many people don't know about this? And why is it that so many people actively supported and still do support Joe Biden? Ignorant people full of hate who don't care about principle or the truth will doom this country. But it seems like we're seeing more and more people of good conscience standing up and putting this information out there and making sure people know what's really going on. And I can tremendously respect that. As for Bill Barr, I don't know. As for Project Veritas, some of the best of the best. So this will be interesting to see what happens next. We'll see how the judge reacts to this. I can imagine the judge is going to be happy. Basically, Biden's DOJ went to a local judge and said, screw you, your orders are meaningless. These people are corrupt. It's right there in front of our faces. I'll leave it there. Next segment's coming up at 4 p.m. over at youtube.com/Timcast. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you all then.